So welcome to Stockton Junction. This is going to be a shed build series. For those of you that aren't interested, I will be titling it as shed build series or shed build at the beginning of the intro title, so you can just skip it if you don't want to watch it. For those of you that do want to watch it, I'm going to be building a very sturdy shed. This could be a shed, summer house, etc. It's going to be pretty big. It's 26 foot long by 15 foot wide. It's going to be built very high standards, and so obviously if you want to build a shed, there are various factors to take into account. I'm building a pier system, as you can see, and the reason for this is to give good airflow underneath the shed. Strength, I'm using 100 by 100 piers, and 100 by 100 top struts are going across the top, which are basically fence posts. There are treated timber. Don't use non-treated timbers because they will rot and it's not worth it. And treated timber will last many years. I think it's got 15-20 years lifespan, says on there. But this fence post here is solid. That's been up nearly 40 years. My dad built that many years ago when I was a little child. So, you know, if they're done right, it's going to be good. And also, they're set in concrete, so the moisture isn't going to hit the posts with the earth so much. That will stop them from rotting. I did read somewhere that you should fill the piers up with mud though, like that, but I'm just thinking, will that now create moisture and be better to leave them that way? But then that could actually sit a puddle of water in there, so I don't know. Something I'm going to look into before I finish this section. Anyway, this is obviously going to be part one of the shed build series. I will go through and try and do as much detail as I can for those of you that may want to do something like this. I'm not going to film everything, but I will film a section of everything, if you know what I mean. So you won't see every part going in. I'm not going to do like time-lapse videos and that sort of thing. I'll just do little update videos with how I do each section. So the next video will be just discussing the piers and the braces, and then the video after that I'll be discussing how I put a pier in and make sure that they're all correct, because obviously being level is the key thing for this section of the shed, because this is the main base. If it's not level, you're going to have a wonky shed, you're going to have problems putting the roof, doing the roofing, all sorts of issues. So at this point everything needs to be dead right. So, you know, take your time and measure everything twice, check every level twice. In fact, I do it probably about 3 or 4 times. And anyway, I will continue with the video in a minute. Hello and welcome to Stockton Junction. This is the first part of the shed build video. This is ideal for anyone who wants to build a large shed, medium shed, or even like a summer house. So just go through what I'm doing. So as you can see, I've got these 14-inch piers. You could make larger piers if you wanted, but these are quite adequate. So what I'm starting off with is do the back one there, and I had one mess up on that, but that's not an issue as it's a center pier, not a joining pier, so I don't need to bracket that one. So be aware that when you're putting your piers in, they may move in the concrete. I didn't check that one, so that was my mistake. Right, so what I'm doing, I'll just run through. So as you can see, there's one set of piers that are going to go there all the way down that side. There will be a central pier here going all the way down as well, and those 2 piers must they need to be the exact width apart all the way along. So I've got them at 232. They will be at 232 all the way along, and that will become apparent as to why later on, because it will just make your life easier if you're building a very wide shed like this. Because when I put the next level on, which will be all the framing, I'm going to have to frame it in 2 halves, so because of the length of the width, and obviously we'll come to that later on. And then again, the last set of piers, which is going to be starting in that corner there, they need to be an exact width from this central pier as well. So I will have 2 sets of support piers or support beams going through the middle of this one and the middle of that one. They won't matter too much. Just come down here. So they're going to go all the way down the middle of the middle one and the right one, and the same on the other side. They won't matter if they're dead straight, as long as they're exactly the same height as the other 2, because they're just going to be a support beam. So I'm just going to grab this bit of wood. It's a bit hard to film on my own without, if I just going to place that on there a second and step back. So that's what our framework's going to be made of. So the central beam is literally just going to be a support for the center of that beam. So it doesn't matter if it's there. It doesn't matter if it's not dead straight all the way down, as long as it's giving support around the center area. And the reason I'm going to be doing, as you can see, that's the length of my boards. They're not going to go all the way across. So what I'm going to have to do is put a central board. I'm going to have the board going all the way along the edge that side, then a board down the middle of this one, and cut boards to length going across from there to there. So that is why this needs to be dead right with your measurements all the way down, because what I can then do is measure that gap and cut all my boards to length in a job, you know, set up a little Rick jig so that I can just cut them all to length, and then it'll be a lot easier and quicker to do that section. So when I've got some more piers done, I will come back and talk you through the next stage of it. Okay, so now we're coming on to the piers. I'm going to show you how we set up the pier and make sure it's all level and square. So first job is I'm going to put the pier in the ground. We don't know the correct height yet, but we will do that in a minute. So I'm going to get our spirit level, and I'm going to put a nice piece of CLS, which is dead straight, across the gap from there to there. Put our spirit level on and check for the level on here. Obviously that is far too low, it needs to come up about 1 inch this end. So I'm going to take this off again. I'm going to pack it with some earth and put it back in after tamping it a bit, and just give it another test. Let's see where we're sitting, how we're sitting. That's almost level, in fact it's actually higher. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get our bit. I've got a rubber mallet, I'm just going to give it a good tap, not too much, and that's almost perfect, dead level. We also need to check across this way for the level as well, because obviously it needs to be level going down, which isn't. So I'm going to get going to tamp the earth down in the bottom of the hole a bit more. still going off. Just a case of keep checking the levels until you get them both good enough. And this is still going slightly uphill, which it shouldn't be. And that's much better. Right, so our post is nice and level. I've also got this little contraption which is post level, which is really useful. Bought that at Aldi's for £2.99, bargain. You just put that on, make sure you level both ways. Very useful. So now I'm ready to start fixing the post in. I've got a pile of rubble. I'm going to fill some of the larger parts of the hole with some of the bricks, just to bulk it out a bit. Put a few small bits down the sides without moving the post. And the one thing I forgot to also say was I've measured my distance from the back bar over there. So I put this onto here, measured all the way across, and I've got my exact measurement, which is what I was talking about earlier. So mine's at 232. Obviously it depends on the size of the shed you're building. Your measurements don't have to be exactly the same as that. So first thing we're going to do is just put some of this in. It helps bulk out the hull. You haven't got to use quite so much of the concrete. Then we're going to pour in water. There will be soak away, so it's not a problem. I'm going to over half fill the hole with water. On the instructions for the concrete it says fill it to a third, but a lot of that will soak away, and I'll be putting some, probably need to put some more in a minute. Just grab another spare bag of concrete. Going to put some more water in now it's soaked down a bit, and I've got this, and we're going to just put some of this into the hole. This is post-crete, so it's fast setting, 5 to 10 minutes. You try not to breathe the dust in, it isn't good for you. So I've got to often use the little shovel to do it, especially when I want it in areas where it's not quite gone in yet. And add a touch more water to that, which is fine. Put some more bricks up this end just to bulk that out. I don't need all of that. just going to put some more on where there's excess water just to soak that away. It'll soon disappear. And we're just going to leave that to set now. The only thing I am going to do is recheck my distance, because I found that putting all the water and concrete in can make the post move, even if it's only ½ centimetre. That's something I don't want, so I'm going to double check. My width, and it's moved about 4 millimetres to the backwards, so I'm just going to reset that there. And obviously there's a tiny gap at the back where I've moved it, so I'm just going to fill that with a bit more concrete powder. Now I'm going to leave that. I'm going to give it, because it sets in 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm just going to give it another check in about another 2 or 3 minutes before it sets off, and we're done. And so at the end of that previous day, I've got quite a bit done. Not finished all the piers yet, but as you can see, the back one's completely done and the back shuttering is in place there. That's how that's going to go. I've got that one to put the posts in. This one, the posts are in. I just got a piece of wood there to make sure it was level, and that one in the center is nearly finished, and I just got these two to do along here, so probably be doing that in about 4 days time, hopefully. So due to work, I won't be touching this for another 3 days, but that's the progress so far. As you can see, what we do with the things is you bracket them like so, one either side. It'll be in total, they're not all done yet, I've done some but not all, and they get bracketed on there. The same with that back shutter board, that gets bracketed on, and then just grab one of these boards. Once they're cut to fit to the right length, so I'm just going to moving a board. So once they're cut to fit, then we start cutting them to the halfway point there and slot them in every foot going across like that. So that will be the next job. Now I will come back when some more progress has been made, but I think all in all a lot of progress has been made so far. I'm not rushing the job, I want to get it done really well, and these are very, very strong as well. If you stand on these, they don't move, don't even budge. So by the time this boarding's all put on, the framework, it's going to be rock solid. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. So just a quick finish off for this video. As you can see, the 5 support beams are now all in place. So tomorrow I will be starting on the all the framing work goes on top, after leveling off a bit more of the earth to give it better depth underneath, because some bits are a lot lower. So like there, the ground's quite high, but over there it's quite low. I need a sort of like that all over. I need to have an airflow all the way underneath. And just going back to what I said about the other day about these concrete sections, and I did read that you should cover them with earth. It's a bit I find that a bit strange because obviously the earth can touch the posts, and I would have thought that can create damp into the posts, but they are treated, so it should be fine. And let's face it, that's what happens to fences in the garden all the time anyway. So anyway, that's all done. So tomorrow we will start the next process. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. I hope you find this useful, and please hit the like button. It really does help me, because it means basically YouTube show my video to more people who might be interested in it, the more likes I get. So please hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next installment.